2019 Volvo V90 review. The Volvo V90 is usually a large estate car depending on the XC90 SUV and S90 saloon, and was in the vanguard with the Swedish carmaker's transformation right into a fully formed premium manufacturer. It were built with a solid grounding, though. Volvo piled up a solid reputation through its functional wagons through the 1970s, 80s and 90s, and from now on enjoys a graphic of left-field Scandi cool, which buyers love. The V90 is facing some stiff opposition: the award-winning BMW 5 Series Touring, Mercedes-Benz E-Class Estate and Audi A6 Avon are direct rivals. Each is staggeringly good. They happen to be built by businesses that have perfected the skill of building premium models sprinkled with desirability, and Volvo have their own work cut down going head-to-head with one of these players. As ever, though, Volvo can depend on a quantity of pioneering security features to stand from its rivals, particularly the standard fit Pilot Assist adaptive cruise control system, with lane keeping assistance, and crash mitigation systems to assist avoid accidents to begin with. We'll get into that more fully within the features area of this review. Volvo V90, in line with the XC90, but more stylish. There's no denying which the V90 is often a stylish car. There's little boxiness you'd normally keep company with big Volvo estates through the past. It's immediately recognizable with thanks to the company's signature T-shaped LED Thor's hammer daytime running lights. Inside, Volvo's gone a unique way, too. Large swathes in the cockpit could be borrowed in the XC90, but this can be a good thing, as it's an excellent car. It's light and airy, and offered in a few very interesting color, material combinations, that will appeal to people that want to move away on the more usual blacks and greys. The way it drives is familiar too. Volvo calls this relaxed confidence, and it also is a refreshing change from your sporty pretensions of their German rivals. It's no driver's car, although very capable nevertheless, but there's a lot of confidence-inspiring traction allied which has a quiet, comfortable ride, delivering opt for that adaptive suspension package. Volvo V90 diesel, petrol and hybrid options. The Volvo V90 is in line with the same scalable product architecture, SPA, underpinnings because the larger XC90 and S90, as well because the smaller S60/V60 and XC60. That means the engines, transmissions, safety systems, and much in the interior tech is shared across all models, and therefore they're proven across virtually all of Volvo's range, aside on the entry-level XC40. The primary power unit with the V90 is Volvo's 2.0-litre, 4-cylinder in diesel, petrol and hybrid forms, and available using a myriad of power outputs. The diesels are generally known as D4 and D5 power pulse, producing 190 horsepower and 235 horsepower respectively, even though the latter are badged T4, 190 horsepower, and T5, 250 horsepower. All conventional engines are front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder, 2.0-litre turbocharged units and boast impressive claimed fuel economy figures and many clever tech to help you drivability. The D5 specifically features a forward-thinking power pulse system that can help spool the turbocharger at low revs for faster throttle response. Also, it makes the V90 feel more spontaneously powerful than you'd expect at a big diesel estate. Coming in as being the most expensive engine variant may be the T8 hybrid. It produces 318 horsepower by reviewing the 2.0-litre petrol engine, put together with another 82 horsepower from an electrical motor. Unsurprisingly, it's the T8 hybrid that, written at least, will be the cheapest car to perform, returning a claimed 135 miles per gallon. We averaged 33 miles per gallon in this Volvo V90 T8 long-term review, and produces just 47 grams/km of CO2. Why the Volvo V90 has class-leading safety. Safety and space would be the main selling points of the car, nonetheless it impresses on the former count. Standard features include Pilot Assist, which will take care with the throttle, steering and brakes from congested zones all the way around cruising speed, as well as a sophisticated crash avoidance system that could spot pedestrians, cyclists and big animals in front in the car, night or day. The large Census touchscreen inside the center console is often a step away from the opposition that include for being in portrait instead of landscape format. It's easy to use once mastered, but since it replaces countless functions and buttons from about the cabin, drivers new at all to the car may find it takes getting used to. In addition, moreover, you may get a group of digital dials along with a raft of driver assistance equipment. Now for the V90's raison d'etre, its luggage capacity. And it's here the V90 disappoints. You have a 560-litre boot that expands to at least 1,526 litres while using rear seats folded, but rivals are considerably bigger and even more adaptable. Volvophiles with doubtless lament the shortage of a vertical tailgate to increase capacity, which ironically, the newer V60 has, and therefore, small car has more space to learn with. Browse new and used Volvo V90 estate cars available for purchase. Search the most recent lease tools around the Volvo V90. Powered by the pair of diesel engines, 2 petrols along with a plug-in hybrid, Volvo V90 performance is just as ample as you have it to be. The petrol versions arrived within the UK following diesels, and predictably, have never sold in anywhere near the identical numbers since the diesels. The interesting T8 petrol-electric plug-in hybrid followed in 2019, with 400 horsepower and also a potential 140 plus mpg on short journeys. It's virtually unique inside a market. Efficient diesel engines, all 2.0 litres. Regardless which often V90 you choose, the powerplant is really a 4-cylinder, 2.0 litre, turbocharged unit. First up is a lot more frugal in the 2, top-wheel drive D4, producing 190 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque from your satisfactorily low 1,750 revolutions per minute. To date it's proving the most used choice. Top speed is quoted at 140 miles per hour, even though the 0 to 62 miles per hour dash takes 8.5 seconds, so it's no slouch, but there's an alternative solution if you would like to go quicker. That's the roll on the D5 PowerPulse AWD, all-wheel drive, courtesy of their 235 horsepower and 480 Nm outputs. Top speeds increased to 145 miles per hour, whilst the sprint from 0 to 62 miles per hour is really a hot hatch like 7.2 seconds. The D5's important addition is always the PowerPulse function, helping cut down about the slight delay sometimes felt on turbocharged engines. It compresses air right into a storage cylinder that may be then utilized to spin the turbo into action when you will find insufficient exhaust gases to accomplish this, making the V90 a lot more responsive. It's a lighter, cheaper system compared to electronic compressor used inside Audi SQ7. Petrol-engined Volvo V90s, performance-focused. There are 2 petrols to select from, the 190 horsepower T4 as well as the 250 HP T5. Both deliver a good amount of power with the assertive driver, although you'll need to give them a lot of revs to supply their best. Refinement from the 4-cylinder engine is great, with low overall noise levels along with a decent, if muted, engine note. The T5 just isn't as quick since its 250 horsepower maximum power output might suggest. Maximum speed is 140 miles per hour and 0 to 60 miles per hour rises in a reasonable and unfussed 6.8 seconds. The T4 isn't that far behind, that has a 0 to 60 miles per hour duration of 8.6 seconds, and also a maximum speed of 130 miles per hour, and much more importantly, it truly doesn't think down on power about the road. We'll squeeze plug-in hybrid T8 version here, as although it's effective at running 21 miles with a full control of battery only, it's much more of a performance car that may be pressed into eco-running where necessary. The figures bear this out. 0 to 60 miles per hour appears in 5.1 seconds, whilst the maximum speed that's limited by 155 miles per hour is much more than competitive. What's the Volvo V90 T4 inscription love to drive? In regards to performance and refinement, this well-powered petrol model doesn't disappoint. It's smooth and refined at low revs, and effortlessly accumulates speed when you're planning to make progress. When you finally get employed to the fact it doesn't have bottomless reserves of low-down pulling power such as a diesel. Acceleration is a lot more than acceptable in case you bury your right foot into the carpet, having a 0 to 62 miles per hour period of 8.6 seconds as well as a maximum speed of 130 miles per hour. However, in truth, these figures are pretty meaningless. It keeps up easily together with the flow, and it is automatic transmission slurs changes perfectly, and keeps revs low when you're not following the ultimate acceleration. It's another very impressively quiet cruiser. Wind noise is admirably held in check, which, along using the supremely comfortable seats, definitely makes the V90 a really accomplished distance-covering machine. On that score, it inches ahead of the company's power-pulse diesel sister car. What's the 400 horsepower hybrid T8 love to drive? Yes, should you value supercar baiting performance. Considering the V90 weighs over 2 tons, a 0 to 60 miles per hour duration of around 5 seconds is seriously fast. With the combined power in the petrol-electric drivetrain, it never sounds or feels strained. Instead, it generates uncurious 4-cylinder backbeat overlaid using a supercharged alike whine that contributes genuine interest. Of course, in case you make liberal use of their acceleration, the 21-ish miles of life of the battery are rapidly depleted. And even in the event you engage the battery charge function, it will not recharge as soon as it depletes. But to win back your enthusiasm, plus it's unlikely you can be left floundering with just 316 horsepower for days on end. Watch more in this Volvo V90 T8 long-term review. Want a manual Volvo V90? Forget it. There's one choice of transmission, an 8-speed automatic box that merges together its ratios in a very smooth and, to the most part, timely fashion, offering your driving within an equally tranquil manner. When pushing on, we found the gearbox wasn't quite as proactive as it might be, worsened by the lack of steering wheel paddles for all those moments when you wish to take over. Should you get a petrol or diesel V90? Volvo has clearly put plenty of work into its 2.0-litre petrol engine that is punchy, refined, and reasonably efficient. Compared with its rather gruff power-pulse diesel sister, it's an object lesson in refinement, whether or not it lags slightly behind the very best that BMW is putting out today. On that basis, and assuming the penalty in fuel consumption isn't a lot for you, 30 miles per gallon versus 40 miles per gallon to the diesel, therefore you're doing mainly motorway miles, switching from diesel to petrol has to be painless and enjoyable experience for Volvo V90 drivers. In the week we ran the Volvo V90 T4 inscription, we averaged 29.2 miles per gallon, and that is not an unsatisfactory effort in the mix of urban and motorway driving we subjected it to. We'd expect more typical drivers to squeak past 30 miles per gallon without a lot of effort. Light steering can be a bonus about, but it restricts the fun when from the jaw horse. Sportier S produces a slightly better fist of things. Rivals, for example the Mini hatch along with the Audi A1 are better plus much more engaging to drive as opposed to Vauxhall Adam. Even although large most city-centric buyers will like the light steering, deficiency of feedback takes each of the sense of enjoyment far away from keener drivers. Through the corners there is little change or no lean when driving enthusiastically, but on account of the lack of information on the steering there is a constant feel truly at one with the auto. Cars specified with 17 or 18-inch trims come that has a sport chassis as standard and is also meant to give the vehicle crisper steering. Unfortunately, all it gets is really a firmer ride as opposed to sweeter handling, so be prepared to be jolted about more. Vauxhall has engineered the Adam, which has a UK-specific steering system that's been tuned for additional twisty, lumpy British roads. In truth, you'd be hard-pressed to see, such may be the vagueness of their communication together with the driver. Things are slightly better together with the Adam S, and that is much better to hustle around, yet that absence of feedback prevents it from truly sating the driver from the manner a rather larger Fiesta ST does. Small cars needs to be as much fun to push as they are to see, even so the Adam simply isn't. Well-made cabin employs high-quality materials. Central touchscreen replaces much in the switchgear. Very similar layout on the XC90 SUV's interior. Climb aboard the Volvo V90 so you'll appreciate which the cabin is loaded with lovely materials, from soft leather to cross-cut wood inserts with all the grain lined up diagonally. It's strikingly bare too. Most from the controls and buttons are already migrated towards the central screen, hence the cabin looks simple but elegant and extremely attractive. If you've been within an XC90 you might get yourself a sense of déjà vu, so similar are their cabins. It's quite simple to get comfortable due to a squashy yet supportive driver's seat that offers lots of adjustment. The digital dashboard is bright and clear and simply as uncluttered since the rest on the cockpit. Comfort is amplified through the optional air suspension. Volvo's seats remain the industry benchmark. Lots of space for passengers, especially inside the rear. Given our findings from the handling section, you'd suppose that comfort can be an area the spot that the Volvo V90 excels, and you could be right, with one caveat. The adaptive air suspension setup is extremely comfortable indeed, gliding over tarmac imperfections with little hassle and isolating larger bumps with a corner with the car instead of it reverberating across the cabin. Stick using the standard steel springs, although it's not uncomfortable. You're aware about rust inside the road being telegraphed on your posterior. Noise-wise there's almost no intrusion through the D4 and D5 engines, that are about their business with incredible discretion. The seats aren't anything short of being supremely comfortable, as you'd expect from Volvo, and unsurprisingly for the length in the V90, you receive acres of space when sitting inside back. Higher level standard equipment. Inscription gonna be the popular choice. Wide array of option packs available. Nice and here, with 3 V90 trim levels available in a similar vein to your larger XC90's lineup. Of the momentum, inscription and R-design guises, Volvo expects the middle ranking you to definitely be the favorite. Standard Volvo V90 estate equipment. Entry-level momentum cars, below, come which has a good specification including a full European sat-nav with traffic information and mapping updates on the 9.0-inch screen. You also obtain the very cool Pilot Assist, a semi-autonomous system that controls on the steering, accelerator and brakes for you personally at speeds below 80 miles per hour. You have to keep the hands for the wheel, but it really certainly takes your energy out of motorway cruising and queuing. Starter kit includes Census Connect, that gives a connection to your internet as well as a range of apps. It also enables your vehicle to book itself right into a garage if this needs a service. Other highlights include LED headlights with active high beam, DAB radio and Bluetooth connectivity, 2-zone climate control, powered tailgate and folding rear seat mechanism, 17-inch alloy wheels, 18-inch with all the D5 engine, digital instrumentation, leather upholstery and heated front seats. Boost the degrees of luxury with inscription trim, which adds Napa leather upholstery, powered front seats, with driver's side memory, a more substantial 12.3-inch screen with the dashboard, keyless entry and initiate, hands-free tailgate operation, 18-inch alloys and walnut interior inlays. Those seeking a sportier look must look into the R-design. It features lowered suspension, a subtle bodykit hallmarked with the black mesh grille and 18-inch matte black alloys, while from it differs through the inscription as a result of its sports seats, nubuck leather upholstery and dark interior trims. Optional Volvo V90 estate accessories. As well as quite a few individual choices for tailoring your Volvo V90, such as a choice of wheels from 17 to 21 inches, you will discover 4 main packs containing desirable upgrades. A winter pack incorporates heated windscreen, tire and washer nozzles, and also a headlight cleaning system. Winter Plus features the aforementioned gadgets plus active dynamic headlights and LED front fog lights with cornering function. The family pack gets you integrated 2-stage booster cushions for the outer rear seats, plus powered child locks and sun curtains for your rear doors. Finally, the futuristic sounding Xeon E-Impact comes using a powered tilt and slide panoramic sunroof, 360-degree view parking camera plus an automatic parking system. one in the safest cars tested by EuroNCAP. Years of safety research encompassed inside V90. Additional safety tech suggested. Volvo V90 safety was commended for one with the highest scores yet attained in the EuroNCAP crash test, virtually no surprise given the Swedish mark has long been for the forefront in this field. Standard safety equipment carries a voice control system, run-off road protection, which automatically tightens the top seatbelts if the auto leaves the highway, plus the city safety suite. This gets you pedestrian, cyclist and huge animal detection and front collision warning with autonomous emergency braking. You also receive the semi-autonomous pilot assist, that takes care on the steering, throttle and brakes from congested zones to motorway cruising speed. Volvo is keen to indicate this is not an absolutely autonomous driving system, you have still got to keep a hand around the wheel. It works well at low speeds, utilizing the monotony outside of creeping around in traffic. Nonetheless, it needs increased steering input at speed. We also found it were built with a tendency to make the vehicle sit much further left inside the lane than we felt at ease with. Volvo S90/V90 EuroNCAP crash test video. Ample space for passengers, with generous rear legroom. Boot space lags behind rivals, slinkier rear impinges on capacity. Simple flap within the boot floor is an excellent load space divider. Once upon a moment, Swedish estates had about as often space to be a spare bedroom, so it's disappointing to discover the practicality on the Volvo V90 has become compromised by its styling. The culprit could be the sloping roofline and angled tailgate, no perpendicular bottom here. It looks sleeker however with only 560 litres of boot space. It lags behind the Audi A6 Avon, BMW 5 Series Touring and Mercedes-Benz E-Class estate. Drop the back seats and this also expands to at least 1,526 litres. It's not small, in any respect, but far away from class-leading. Still, it will have the simple yet clever pop-up part of boot floor to use being a divider preventing things sliding around an excessive amount.